Hello again, welcome to my story tent. I've brought the story tent to you yet again. And now I'm going to tell you the third story in the stories about the party in the castle to the north. Way, way, way to the north. As far north as you can possibly go. Unless it's as far south as you can possibly go, or as far east as you can possibly go, or as far west as you can possibly go. It all depends on where you live. But the castle on top of the mountain surrounded by a forest. In there lived a king, a queen. There lived the prince, the princess. There also lived all the members of the royal family. There were uncles and aunts. There were nephews and nieces. There were cousins. All sorts of people lived in the castle. There was a wizard. There were a couple of caretakers. There was a lady who lived at the top of the tallest tower, and she looked after the birds. There were chefs, there were cooks, there were soldiers, there were knights. All sorts of people lived there. As we found out in the last story, there were quite a few entertainers. Now the king liked to go hunting. He would like to go hunting with his brother, Olaf. They would hunt through the forest at the bottom of the mountain, and the king, who made all the rules and all the laws, had one specific law for hunting. You could only hunt what you were about to eat. You couldn't hunt for pleasure. You couldn't hunt because you felt like it. You had to hunt for the table. And he was very strict about this rule. Olaf, his brother, he considered himself to be the finest hunter the world has ever seen. He said, I can track anything, I can find anything, and I can hunt anything. One day, the king and Olaf and a few men were riding through the forest, hunting for that night's dinner. And they were walking amongst the trees with their horses. And the king said to Olaf, "Oh, this is beautiful. Look at the wonderful trees. Look at the animals. Look at the birds. This is a beautiful place we live in." Olaf looked around and said, "Yeah, it is," he said, "and there's plenty to hunt." Said the king. "Don't forget the rule." "I won't," said Olaf. "I know I can only hunt what we're about to eat." "Exactly," said the king. Even though Olaf looked around at a couple of birds and thought, I could hunt those. As they walked through, the conversation turned to various subjects, and then the king said to Olaf, he said, "If you could hunt anything and you consider yourself to be the best hunter in the world, what would you hunt?" "Ah," said Olaf, "I have given this much thought. Much thought indeed, and all the times that I've been out hunting, the one thing that I would like to track and hunt is a unicorn." "Ha ha 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 ha," said the king. "Unicorn? I'm not even sure they exist, do they? Are they real unicorns?" Olaf didn't laugh. Olaf said, "Yes, I think they're real, and I think they're the most elusive creature in the whole world, and I would like to hunt one." The king stopped laughing and he said, "But don't forget, if you hunt it, you've got to eat it. And somewhere, I hear that you can't eat unicorn." "Huh, is that so?" said Olaf. "Well, that's what I would hunt if I had a choice." And with that, he pulled his bow off his back and went twang, and he caught himself a pheasant. That was for tonight's dinner. At the dinner that evening, they were sat around the table, the whole family, the entertainment had been on and gone, and the king stood up and said, "I have one announcement to make." Everybody listened. The king said, "This weekend, this coming Saturday, there is to be a party. It's a party for the princess. All the lords, the knights, the soldiers, Vikings from all over the north, the south, the east and the west are coming to the castle for a party, and the princess is going to choose one of them to marry." Everybody looked at each other. They liked the idea of a party. Olaf said, "Does that mean we will need food for the table for the party?" "Absolutely," said the king. "We are going to have the best entertainment in the world. We are going to have the best music and dancing in the world, and we need the best food in the world." "Excellent," said Olaf. "I will start hunting tomorrow." "Okay," said the king. "You may hunt for the party table." The next morning, Olaf went down to the stables, found his favourite horse, and as he did, he looked at the horse and he thought, I wonder what I will catch today. He got on his horse and he started to travel round the forest. And as he travelled round the forest, he saw various animals. Not good enough, he thought, not good enough. And then he saw a mighty deer. He took his spear and he threw it at the deer, killed it, and put it on his horse to take back to the castle. When he got back, the stable boy said, "That's a mighty fine looking stag you got there, sir." "Yes," said Olaf, "that'll be part of the party dinner." "What are you sighing for, sir?" He said, "Oh, the king has put in my mind that I should be hunting the most elusive creature in the world. I would love to hunt for a unicorn." "Really?" said the young stable boy. He said, "Well, they only come out at night." He said, "They only come out under a full moon, so you're not likely to see one really. Well, you might this week because it's a full moon this week." He said, "But you'll have to be out at night." "Really?" said Olaf. "Is that true?" "Right, I'm going out tonight." So that night, Olaf went down to the stable, got his horse, and travelled out amongst the trees, underneath the stars, underneath the moon, which was not quite full. He travelled around all night long and saw nothing. When he got back in the morning, he took the horse back to the stable. The stable boy said, "Did you find one then, sir?" Olaf said, "No, I didn't. Now take care of my horse." And he stomped back into the castle. He went hunting through the day, and that evening he went back to the stables, got his horse, travelled out at night, and went hunting for unicorn. All week he did this, and he didn't find a unicorn. On the Friday night, he went down to the stables, and the stable boy said to him, "Are you going out tonight? It's a proper full moon tonight, look at that." "I am." "Well, you have better luck than the rest of the week." And just for good measure, Olaf clipped him round the ear. "Ow!" said the stable boy. "Ha!" said Olaf. Then he got on his horse and he travelled down to the forest and started to travel around. He hunted, he tracked, he couldn't find anything. He stopped his horse just as he was about to give up for the night, and the horse pricked up its ears. It made a sound. "What's wrong with you, horse?" said Olaf quietly. Then over the other side of the bush he heard an answer. "Wonder what that is," thought Olaf, and he slid off his horse, took out his big spear, and he crept towards the bushes. He looked around the bush, and there, in the clearing, was a huge, magnificent white horse with a horn projecting out of his forehead. It glowed under the full moon. Olaf couldn't believe his eyes. He took his giant spear. He brought it back slowly and then thrust it as hard as he could. It flew through the air and the unicorn looked up. It was too slow. The spear went straight through the unicorn heart and the unicorn fell down dead. Olaf was over the moon. He was so pleased with himself. "I have hunted a unicorn," he said. "I am truly the best hunter in the whole world. I am going to present this to the princess for her birthday." He looked around and he got some logs and he got some sticks and he made a litter. It's like a stretcher. He tied that to the back of his horse and he dragged with all his strength the unicorn onto the litter, and then they dragged it back to the castle. He went round the back way. He went to the stables. He dropped off his horse and then he got the head chef from the kitchens. He said, "Come with me." They went to the stables. He said, "That is what I want you to prepare for the princess's party." The chef said, "But it's a horse." "And fine steaks it will make," said Olaf. "I want that specially prepared and ready for the princess's party tomorrow, and you should not tell a soul, or you will have me to deal with." The head chef said, "Certainly, sir." And he busied himself with some cooks, and they took the unicorn away. The next night, from all over the country came knights, lords, men, Vikings. A huge party arrived. The party in the evening was in full swing. The entertainment had been and gone, the food had come out, and the food was fantabulous. Everybody remarked on how fine the food was. But towards the end of the courses, Olaf stood up. He said, "Brother, your Majesty, lords, ladies and gentlemen," he said, "do you allow me to present a special dish, specially for the princess?" "Certainly," said the king. "What have you hunted this time?" "Ah, something special," said Olaf, and he clapped his hands 3 times. In came the head chef with 4 men carrying a huge silver dish, and on top of the silver dish, sizzling in gravy, were steaks, the finest looking steaks anybody had ever seen. They put them on the table in front of the king. Olaf said, "See what I have here?" Sticking out of the centre of the platter was a horn. "What is it?" said the king. "It's unicorn," said Olaf. The whole room gasped. "Unicorn?" The king said, "A unicorn? Does it exist?" "Certainly does," said Olaf. "And I, the finest hunter in the whole world, has tracked it, hunted it and killed it and brought it here to follow your rule, your law, to eat the unicorn." A voice at the back of the room said, "You cannot eat unicorn." Everybody looked round. It was the wizard. He had stood up. "Nonsense," said Olaf. "I can eat the unicorn if I wish." "No one can eat unicorn," said the wizard. "Pah!" said Olaf, and he picked up a huge steak and he took a huge bite from the huge steak. And he chewed it. "That," he said, "is the most delicious meat I have ever eaten." The wizard said, "You cannot eat unicorn." And Olaf felt a tingling in his feet. "Ooh," he said, "what on earth is going on?" And then he felt his legs start to stretch. "Oh," he said, "that's quite painful." And then he felt himself getting bigger and bigger and bigger. His arms stretched right out. He fell on the floor. His face, very painfully, started to get longer and longer and longer. His skin went white. His clothes fell off. He got bigger and bigger and bigger until he was standing in the middle of the hall. "Oh," he said, "oh," but he couldn't talk. Then his head erupted into a big headache, and out the front of his forehead came a huge spiralling horn. "Oh!" he said. Everybody in the room stared at the bright white unicorn. "I said," said the wizard, "you cannot eat unicorn. There is only one unicorn ever in the world. And if you kill it and eat it, then you will become the unicorn. Now we have the only unicorn in the world right in front of us. It is the rarest creature we have." The king looked. He said, "Someone open the gates, open the door, let the unicorn free." And so, as soon as they did, the unicorn ran from the castle down the mountain and into the forest. The king said, "From now on, there is a new law. You may hunt, and you may hunt for the table only, but no one shall hunt the unicorn, for he is my brother." And from that moment on, no one even tried to find the unicorn again. And that is the story of the Uncle Olaf and the unicorn. That is the third story in the stories about the party. I have one more for you, and it's possibly my favourite story. It's about the princess and her party. Join me next time, and I will tell you that story. In the meantime, if you'd like to visit www.markfraser-storyteller.com, you'll find some information there, and you'll find my books with some of these stories in them. Feel free to order. Now, next time, I will be back with my story 10. In the meantime, remember, tomorrow is another story. Goodbye.